Hey guys, Bryan Lebo here with your February update video for Summerlin. First off, my apologies for taking the past 2 months off, but I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. Now, before we start the normal show, I want to take a couple minutes to reflect and analyze how the Summerlin market performed last year. So let's just jump into the 2015 review now. We ended the year with about 525 resale homes for sale. This compares to only 464 at the end of 2014. You can look at this two ways actually. On one hand, you can't ignore that inventory rose, which shows either a decrease in demand or an increase in supply. On the other hand, technically, as Summerlin builds more and more homes on a yearly basis, there's always going to be more and more resale homes that come up for sale. In either case, I'm not really reading too much into that increase in inventory. Next, let's look at the inventory breakdown. Short sales dropped to only 4.6% of our market from 6.5% back in 2014. Meanwhile, foreclosures barely even changed at all. Just like the rest of the valley, we should see less and less foreclosures and short sales as time moves on. Now let's see the sales numbers. We sold 1,669 homes last year for a 6.2% increase over 2014. Again, just like the rest of the valley, while this is good, it's down considerably from 2012 and 13 when the market was just going crazy. Now, when we talk about the median price, it gets a bit interesting. Anyone with an understanding for statistical analysis or just your everyday cynic knows that numbers can be easily manipulated to make a point. My goal is always to be as transparent, agenda-free, and honest as possible. Because of the small amount of monthly sales that we have in Summerlin, the median price can vary quite drastically from month to month. For that reason alone, I always try to disclaim the figures. Normally, I would compare the December median price to the December of the previous year. However, if I did that, you'd see right now that the median sales price in Summerlin actually went down $10,000 this past year. Now, just utilizing common sense and my acumen for our market, I can tell you that that is not an accurate depiction. What I think is more accurate is taking all of last year's sales and comparing it to all of 2014 sales. This metric actually results in a 4.8% increase over 2014. So median sales price went from $310,000 back in 2014 to $325,000 currently. As I explained in great detail in this month's Las Vegas update video, going into last year, I had predicted that it was going to be a pretty flat and stable market. Depending on how you choose to look at the numbers, all of Las Vegas went up between 7.5% to 9.2% last year. The unfortunate truth is that either way you cut it, Summerlin only appreciated by half as much as the rest of the valley did last year. I mentioned several times throughout the year, the reason for slower appreciation has to do with the fact that Summerlin values just exploded much higher and faster initially. Therefore, we cooled off the quickest as well. Okay, now on to this month's news. First, let's check out our inventory levels. As you can see on the screen now, we ended the month with 534 homes on the market. This number is more than fine and should continue to remain quite consistent until we get to April. Once we get to late spring, sellers start making their moves and inventory starts to rise in anticipation of the summer market coming. Next, let's see the breakdown of our inventory. 3.4% are short sales, 2.8% are foreclosures, and 93.8% of our homes are normal or traditional sales. In every category, we're substantially better than the rest of the valley. This shows much greater equity and stability. Okay, now let's check out last month's sales. Last month, we sold 99 homes for a 5% increase over January of last year. One really interesting statistic I noticed here has to do with the dramatic sales swing in Summerlin versus the rest of the valley. From January sales to the peak of summer, which is July, the rest of the valley sales increased 77% last year. Summerlin, however, increased 123%. This illustrates just how sensitive our Summerlin market is with regards to timing. Okay, now on to everyone's favorite topic, median sales price. As I disclaimed earlier, the median sales price can vary drastically from month to month since sales volume is relatively low. On the screen now, you can see that the median sales price ironically was identical from December to January. In fact, much like the rest of the valley, the median sales price hadn't really changed since March of last year. Okay, let's wrap up everything and see where we're going. Inventory is stable, sales are stable and slightly increased from last year, while the median price hasn't changed in almost a year. So what does this mean for buyers and sellers? Like I said in the Vegas update video, I think this year will be a very historically normal year for real estate. Historically speaking, Vegas appreciates at 3.2%. Summerlin, however, has its own set of rules. I think you're going to see that the newer communities, or I should say, the newer the community, the less appreciation you're going to see moving forward. Newer homes are substantially more expensive than the older homes in North Summerlin. But the more time that goes by, more of these newer homes are requiring remodeling. Some of the homes built in the mid-2000s now need the same amount of work as some of the homes that were built in the mid-90s. Therefore, some buyers are electing to pay less for the older home since the cost to remodel them both are similar. Additionally, since Summerlin has maintained a consistent level of quality throughout its villages, most of the older subdivisions are just as nice as the newer ones. As a result, I noticed that over the past year, the older and especially smaller homes have appreciated much more than newer homes. In some cases, I found neighborhoods where the newer developments actually had gone down in value. Since we're officially back to a balanced and normal market, we're going to see fundamentals dictate market value much more than we've seen in previous years. Since information is so readily available, buyers are substantially more sophisticated than they were in years past. With values remaining stable, buyers are really shopping around and paying attention to the value of a home instead of merely the price. While I think values will remain steady, any increase in median price should occur during the end of spring through the summertime. So for the sellers out there, start getting your home prepared, do the light remodeling now, and maximize your return starting next month. Well, that's it for this month's update. Thank you all for watching. Please click up here to subscribe and have a wonderful February, everyone.